The Ravens' roster moves this offseason have sparked a lot of discussion among fans, and the latest news around Mark Andrews' new deal has certainly added fuel to the fire. Many are quick to question the decision to lock him in long term, especially when considering his age, at 30. There is always the looming possibility of decline over the life of such a contract, and that's a natural concern for any team evaluating its future at the tight end position. But beyond the age factor, the conversation has really centered on Isaiah Likely, a 25-year-old tight end who has shown flashes of elite potential. His performance last season had some highs and lows, including a tough stretch impacted by injuries, and that has created a dynamic where fans and analysts alike are trying to weigh his upside against the financial realities of retaining both players. Likely's trajectory has been particularly interesting after a down year. He demonstrated glimpses of his capabilities in some late-season games, even delivering his best performance outside of an unfortunate fumble on Thursday night. That moment aside, the flashes of talent he showed remind everyone why he was considered a cornerstone for the Ravens' offense moving forward, returning from a foot injury, adjusting to backup quarterbacks like Cooper Rush, and dealing with the absence of key supporting players all added layers of difficulty. Considering this, the Ravens' decision-making process appears to have been influenced by both financial and strategic factors. As they weigh the benefits of a short-term franchise tag versus a long-term extension, the franchise tag would offer a fully guaranteed one-year contract. But the numbers make it clear that the team was also thinking about the bigger picture, including the allocation of resources to other roster needs. The financial aspect is crucial here. Mark Andrews' deal, likely more manageable on an annual basis than what it would cost to retain Likely at a franchise tag rate over 4 years, provides the Ravens with more flexibility. That flexibility is not just a matter of saving a few $1 million. It's about creating breathing room to potentially re-sign other key players, manage salary cap concerns, and ensure they have the right balance across the roster. While some might argue that the gap between the two deals is not enormous, the combined cost of paying to tight ends top-tier money over multiple seasons would have forced tough compromises elsewhere. This is especially relevant when considering deals for emerging talents like Cole, whose contract negotiations are still underway. The team seems to be sending a message, both in financial terms and strategic positioning, that Mark Andrews is the centerpiece at the position, while Likely may need to explore opportunities where he can be the primary tight end. Turning to the present state of the team, the Ravens recently had a productive practice with quarterback Lamar Jackson on the field, and that was a positive sign heading into the upcoming matchup against the Steelers. Injuries had left some questions about player availability, but key contributors like Darius Washington and Davius Robinson returned to practice, signaling that the team is in relatively good health. Heading into this critical divisional clash, Rashad Bateman and T.Z. Walker were full participants, while Lamar, Tavius, Ardarius, and Nate had limited reps. This mix of availability suggests that the Ravens are positioning themselves well, at least physically, to compete in what is always a heated matchup against Pittsburgh. The historical context of this rivalry only adds to the stakes. Both teams sit at 6-6, tied at the top of a division that has seen some surprising struggles this year. The AFC North, typically regarded as one of the toughest divisions in football, has underperformed collectively, with no team showing the dominant records fans have grown accustomed to. In such a scenario, every game carries added weight, and the Ravens-Steelers showdown is no exception. Baltimore holds a slight edge in common opponents, but the outcome of this matchup could have a defining effect on the remainder of the season. For both teams, victory here doesn't just provide a morale boost, it positions the winner to have more control over the divisional race, while the loser faces mounting pressure with challenging matchups looming on the schedule. For the Steelers, the defensive narrative has been particularly significant. The team invested heavily in bolstering its defensive front, bringing in rookies like Derek Harmon and Yao Black, while adding veteran depth in Dana Quarles and Malik Harrison to address past shortcomings against rushing attacks like Baltimore's. Unfortunately for Pittsburgh, injuries have disrupted these plans, with Harmon missing consecutive games due to a knee issue and Quarles sidelined for the season, while also serving a suspension. The result is a defensive unit that has shown flashes of excellence, like limiting Jonathan Taylor to minimal yardage in one contest, but has also been vulnerable at times, giving up historically high rushing totals to opponents like the Buffalo Bills. This inconsistency underlines the challenge for the Steelers heading into Baltimore, where stopping Lamar Jackson's dynamic playmaking is paramount. Speaking of Lamar, the quarterback's struggles this season have been widely discussed, particularly the absence of touchdowns over a recent 3-game stretch, marking the worst performance of his career in that span. Much of the blame falls on the offensive line, which has consistently failed to protect Jackson or open running lanes for backs like Derrick Henry and Catton Mitchell. Injuries have exacerbated these problems, with key linemen missing time and the team rotating less experienced players in critical spots. The impact on Jackson has been noticeable. He has appeared slower at times, more hesitant in his reads, and unable to fully trust the protection in the backfield. His mobility, once a defining feature of his game, has been compromised by leg injuries ranging from ankle to hamstring issues, making his task of creating plays even more difficult. The Ravens' offensive struggles extend beyond the line. Red zone efficiency has dropped significantly, turnovers have been problematic, and game flow has forced unconventional usage of running backs, often favoring pass-down specialists over lead backs in critical situations. Despite these challenges, there have been glimpses of the offense's potential when key players are healthy and in rhythm. The upcoming matchup against Pittsburgh will test whether the Ravens can overcome these offensive hurdles while managing the physicality of a Steelers defense eager to assert itself. Both teams have shown the ability to dominate or falter dramatically, creating a scenario where execution in key moments will likely determine the victor. The dynamics at play here are fascinating. On one side, you have a Ravens team looking to reclaim the offensive rhythm that made them one of the most feared units in past seasons. On the other, a Steelers squad with defensive reinforcements hampered by injuries, trying to find consistency in a unit that has oscillated between elite and vulnerable performances. The upcoming game has all the ingredients of a high-stakes battle where tactical decisions, player health, and execution under pressure could tip the scales. Both teams are aware that a win here is more than just 3 points. It is about momentum, divisional positioning, and setting a tone for the closing stretch of the season. As the matchup draws nearer, attention remains on how the Ravens will deploy their offense, whether they can protect Lamar Jackson effectively, and how the Steelers will compensate for missing key defensive pieces. The narrative around Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews also looms large, representing the strategic balancing act the Ravens have had to navigate in constructing their roster. While fans debate the merits of these decisions, the players on the field will ultimately determine which approach proves successful in the end. This game is poised to be a measuring stick for both teams, providing insight into the strengths, weaknesses, and resilience of a pair of franchises with aspiration of divisional supremacy and postseason relevance. As we move deeper into the Ravens-Steelers storyline, it's impossible to ignore the psychological aspect of this matchup. Both teams are entering with equal records, 6-6. But the weight of divisional rivalry adds layers that go beyond statistics. Baltimore has been working to regain cohesion on offense, particularly with Lamar Jackson dealing with persistent leg injuries throughout the season. Each week, the question has been whether Jackson can escape pressure, find open receivers, and generate explosive plays. The offensive line has been the focal point of concern, as inconsistent protection has forced Jackson to rely heavily on his mobility, something that has been compromised at times by the accumulation of minor injuries. When he is pressured or delayed in the pocket, it's not just about lost yards, it disrupts timing with tight ends like Mark Andrews, who now holds a long-term contract, and emerging talents like Isaiah Likely, who is seeking a larger role elsewhere. The ripple effects of protection failures extend into the run game as well, making it harder to establish rhythm with backs like Derrick Henry and Catton Mitchell. Game planning for the Steelers has likely centered on exploiting these weaknesses, knowing that consistent pressure can prevent the Ravens from finding their offensive flow. Steelers defensive coordinator Mike Tomlin faces a difficult balancing act. The unit has been inconsistent, alternating between dominance and vulnerability depending on matchups and game flow. The absence of Derek Harmon due to a knee injury and Dana Quarles due to suspension and injury has left holes the Ravens can target. But Pittsburgh's veterans Cam Hayward and Keanu Benton remain a stabilizing force. Malik Harrison has added another layer to stopping the run, though the overall effectiveness depends on assignments and in-game adjustments. What makes this even more intriguing is that the Ravens' offensive struggles are not solely tied to personnel, they are tactical as well. Decisions about rotations on the offensive line, Unconventional play calling and pass-heavy game plans in certain situations have created a scenario where execution must be near flawless for success. The Steelers, aware of Baltimore's vulnerabilities, will aim to manipulate these tendencies to create turnovers, disrupt timing, and force Jackson into uncomfortable situations. On the Ravens side, the defense has its own story. Injuries have impacted the secondary and front seven, yet the unit has shown resilience in key moments. Players like Darius Washington and Davius Robinson returning to practice is a boost, providing options for rotation and depth. The health of Rashad Bateman and TZ Walker as full participants ensures that the passing game has reliable targets, while Lamar's mobility remains a factor that defenses must respect. Even when he's not at full speed, the interplay between offensive injuries, defensive preparation, and individual talent makes each snap of this game feel consequential. The Ravens-Steelers rivalry has always thrived on tight, tactical matchups, and this season promises no less when evaluating the quarterback battle. Lamar Jackson's condition is central. This season has exposed a vulnerability that has rarely been seen in his career in previous years. He could absorb pressure and still create big plays now. The combination of inconsistent offensive line play and lingering injuries has slightly dulled his effectiveness, while Jackson has moments of brilliance. Defenses can now anticipate a slower release and adjust coverages accordingly. This dynamic has forced the Ravens to rely more heavily on Mark Andrews, making him a focal point of the passing game, and increasing the importance of timing between quarterback and tight end. Andrews' long-term contract underscores the team's commitment to him, but it also highlights the limitation this places on playing Isaiah Likely in a leading role. Likely's potential remains high, yet his future with the Ravens is uncertain, emphasizing how roster construction directly impacts on-field performance. Steelers quarterback play adds another layer of intrigue. The team's offensive unit has had its share of ups and downs, and establishing balance between the run and pass is crucial against the Ravens' defense that can create chaos if given the slightest opening. Pittsburgh's ability to manage time of possession, exploit mismatches, and control the line of scrimmage will determine their success against the Ravens' defense that has experienced injuries and rotations in key spots. The opportunity exists for explosive plays, but only if execution is precise. Turnovers will be critical. The team that can protect the football and capitalize on mistakes will gain the upper hand. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. NFL fans are buzzing with one of the most unexpected developments of the season. Sources close to ESPN have reportedly confirmed that veteran defensive end Klay Campbell is on the verge of joining the Baltimore Ravens, sending shockwaves through the league and fueling endless speculation about the team's defensive ambitions. Known for his dominant presence on the line and an uncanny ability to disrupt quarterbacks, Campbell's potential arrival in Baltimore could reshape the Ravens' defensive identity almost overnight. Whispers around the league suggest that the Ravens are pulling out all the stops to secure the veteran pass rusher, signaling that they are serious about making a statement on defense. Campbell, who has built a reputation as one of the most reliable and impactful defensive players of his generation, brings not only skill but experience and leadership to a locker room hungry for championship contention. If the rumors hold true, his pairing with Baltimore's existing defensive talents could create a front that offensive lines across the NFL will fear facing. The chatter is particularly heated because Campbell has been linked with several franchises in recent weeks, yet Baltimore appears to have surged ahead in the pursuit. Analysts are already debating how the move could shift the power dynamics in the AFC, imagining scenarios in which the Ravens' defensive schemes become virtually unstoppable with his addition. Social media has lit up with fans expressing both disbelief and excitement, while sports talk shows are dissecting the potential impact on draft strategies, salary cap implications, and team chemistry. While neither Campbell nor the Ravens have officially confirmed the signing, the ESPN report has stirred a frenzy that shows no signs of slowing down. Conversations in locker rooms, front offices, and fan forums alike are dominated by one question: could this be the move that transforms Baltimore into a defensive powerhouse capable of making a serious playoff run? With the NFL landscape always shifting, one thing is clear: the possible arrival of Klay Campbell has everyone talking, and for now, speculation is king. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.